Okay. Oh my God. I'm having the most issues. Hey, y'all. I don't know what's going on with my other page. Hey. I don't know what's going on with my other page. I tried to alert. Hey, y'all. I tried to alert. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I tried to alert people about, hey, Devin, about what's going on my page, and I guess it locked me out again. So we're going to try to do it on this side, on my page. So, hi. Hey. Hey, everyone. Let me see if I can alert her. Oh my God, this is so off the chain. Like, I don't know what the deal is. I know Mercury's not in retrograde. So, I don't know. They're just trying not to let me be great. Oh, yeah, she waved. Hallelujah. Praise Jesus. Oh, don't mind my room. Oh,
Hello.
Esosa.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Hi.
I'm having the most difficulties. I don't know what happened. I tried to alert, my followers that we were going live, and then all of a sudden it was just like, oh, this is not normal activity. And so, but that's another day. I'm not gonna let it stress me out. They just don't want me to be great. They don't want me to be great. But
Okay.
thank you so much for joining us today. The most questions that people have asked me is about nutrition. We have people coming in now. So I'm really, really grateful that you took time out to be able to speak with us tonight. This is Vegan Pop Eats. This is a space where you can be vegan, vegan adjacent, vegetarian, but we want you to be vegan. Without any kind of judgment. We are here with the raw girl, Esosa. She is a nutritionist. Let me go ahead and run down, your deets. You call yourself a vegan superhero?
I mean that was my alias. Raw Girl's the alias that I started out with in 2009, over 10 years ago when I was a health blogger.
Okay. So you don't feel that you're a vegan superhero anymore?
Well, I am now a nutrition superhero slash
Right.
ageless woman galore, but sure.
Well, how are you doing today? Because I mean, I know this is doing the most right now, but how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I feel a bit frustrated because
Absolutely.
I'm the type that would be out protesting, and I actually for the first time in my life feel like I'm in a space where I have so many people dependent on me for their health that I actually don't feel comfortable. Actually,
Right.
my patients have given me a reason to not go ham the normal way that I would. So, um it's a
Yeah,
frustrating space to be in when but I feel like I'm in solidarity with all the people who are going ham, you know what I'm saying?
I went to two of the protests. I went one at Barclays, and I also went to the one that was on Flatbush yesterday. And I have to say that I'm very pro-Black. Like anything dealing with Black people, I'm here for the uprising. I'm here for their positivity, their energy, and things of that nature. And one of my things that means the most to me is that I just want to be able to make my ancestors proud, dealing with, where they came from, all the tragedy that they had to deal with. So that's when all of these things happened, it was just like a feeling of helplessness,
Mm.
because it's just like, well, what do you want us to do? Like it's like a toxic relationship. You don't want us to be here, but if we were
Mm.
to decide to separate, you would want to destroy, what we
Right.
had,
What we created. Right. I mean, it's happened so
what
many
we
times in
created.
history. It's like Black Wall Street. You can name all the little enclaves
Absolutely.
that Black people went and created for themselves, and then somebody got upset, and then they came over and just decided to burn the whole joint down and kill everybody. So, what can we do?
Right. So what do you want us to do? I wish someone would just stand up and say, what do you want us to do? Like, because if they said that all of y'all can be separate and we're just going to leave you alone, just go over in the mountains of Wyoming, I would pack my little bag and I'd be out. I would be out. If it meant that our people would be able to thrive and to live their most healthiest, fruitful lives, I would be out. But now it just feels so heavy. And
Yeah.
I didn't want to turn this interview into that, but the energy is just you can't help but to discuss it.
I mean,
You
that's
can't help
what's
but to discuss
happening
it.
right now. The thing that gives me hope is that I believe that God is working through the horrible sacrificial crucifixion
Hmm.
of George Floyd and
Oh my
making
goodness.
people all over the world be like, people who normally ignore all of these hashtags and ignore, I mean, we
Hmm.
don't ignore these hashtags, but a lot of people generally don't even acknowledge the hashtag exists, and they're in their little white bubble or whatever bubble, their little Becky
Right.
bubble, living their best life. And I think that the way he died, and who he was and what he experienced, and the fact that we could really see it and move through that, I think that
Hmm.
has we've seen it. It's an international revolution, and I believe that it's gonna take all of these people to make this stop.
Right. So, and we'll get into the conversation. So, let me ask you this question. What do you think that we would have to do in order to set this right? Like, what do you think the ending solution should be? Because we're protesting, and like a lot of times we, get riled up for a couple days, and then after a couple days, someone, drops a new shoe, and it's just like, okay, but then something else happens again, and I believe that things keep occurring until you learn the lesson.
Yeah. Well,
So what do you think would be a positive end result to all of these things in order for both of us, in order for it to be a win-win situation?
yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like there's been so many people who've said it better than I would say it, but I love that clip that's circulating of Toni Morrison that's like, this is your problem.
Yes.
Deal with yourself.
Yes.
Get right with God. Come back to me when
Get
you're
right with
ready.
God.
But
Absolutely.
I kind of feel like we're in a place where literally the entire system needs to burn the down. It just needs to
Right.
burn down, meaning there needs to be a whole new thought about how to do life. And I think that
Right.
America just wants things to be as normal, and the foundations of this country were already jacked up because we started with slavery and all these things, right? So
Hmm.
unless it rethinks the laws, the people in charge, policing, unless other citizens who are not black or not of color start stopping and helping people, and we have to
Right.
increase compassion. The answer is love. The answer is love, and no one wants to hear that because everybody's upset. I'm upset
Right.
too. I'm upset
Yeah.
too, but I'm also like very aware. I think that one of the reasons why I feel like there's it doesn't matter if I think one of the reasons why George Floyd's death is so powerful is because he was not in any way retaliating
Right.
or putting out that energy. You know what I mean? That
Right.
they were putting directing towards him, and it was just so obvious. And sometimes people
Yeah.
need to get convicted by how much love you send at them, that they don't even know what to do because they're just like, oh, I'm just, you know what I mean?
Right.
Um,
Right.
but I think that the entire system has to be reimagined, and I think that people who are white who don't think that this is their problem, go get your cousin, okay? Go get your cousin.
Are
Go
you
get
unfollowing the people who are
go
taking a
get
stand, or
your cousin.
you haven't gone that deep yet?
I am not I don't have an active aggression, but I do
Right.
make mental notes because I'm sorry, you can't key with me and be my friend, you know what I mean? And have little drinks and stuff. And then when stuff like this happens, you have nothing to say. And my biggest thing when it
Nothing.
comes to when we're talking because we're talking about veganism, when it comes to the
Hmm.
plant-based community and people being vegan and people being ethical, it's like, I'm sorry, your whole stance. Some people take veganism to a whole religion anyway, but your
A
whole
whole
stance is
religion.
your everything you say is canceled if you don't actually believe in human rights as well. You want to talk
Right.
all day about animal rights, but your dog is more important than a black man? I'm so sorry. No,
I
absolutely
never
not.
got that. Never got that. Never got that. But I'm going to switch gears because I know that you are busy, and this is late and it's super exciting. But more people are coming in, and I just want to let everyone know that we are talking to Esosa. Am I saying your name right?
Yes, Esosa.
Esosa, and she is a holistic nutritionist, and she's a certified nutritionist and behavior coach, and she also assists women over 30 to live an ageless looking life. Thank you so much again for coming.
No problem.
I want to start off with, how did you start your journey to veganism, and what attracted you to being a raw vegan at the beginning?
So, I became vegan when I was 13. Um,
Mm,
I didn't really exactly have exact reasons at that moment, other than I was already lactose intolerant. Milk used to make me throw up when I was a kid. And thankfully, I had parents who didn't force me to drink it, which was really great. And then one day I was just like, I'm gonna get rid of meat. I don't know. I felt it. And I thank God I did, because as I look back, I mean, I had horrible periods that were super painful. I had signs that now I look at my clients and I'm like, ooh, I had signs of maybe estrogen dominance or some sort of hormonal imbalance that was being caused by the animal protein and stuff. So I'm
mhm,
really glad that I stopped. So I was basically sort of vegetarian. Then I went full vegan. I got rid of yogurt. That was the one thing that I had left in. And basically never looked back. I hit college, and I was pretty unhealthy. I started to get tired a lot. I was breaking out a lot. I went to go visit my cousin in California, and whenever me and my cousin would hang out, I was like 18 at the time, and we'd be hanging out, and everyone would be like, "What school do you guys go to?" And she was like 33 at the time, and I was like,
right.
okay, I need to live your life. You know what I mean? Like, mental note, want to be like you when I grow up, you know?
Right.
And she was a raw foodist. She had lost a lot of weight and became a plus size model. Like, she was overweight her whole life, but she had lost a lot of weight, became a plus size model, and was a raw
Mhm.
foodist. And so I was hanging out with her. Was hanging out. Angela Bassett at one point was a raw foodist. They were friends. And so I was hanging out with them, and I was like all inspired by this energy. And she was like, you need to eat a salad, at least once a day, like a fresh raw salad. And I made a mental note, went back to school, still wasn't very healthy, was
Right.
better, but it wasn't very healthy. It wasn't until maybe 2007 or 8 where my skin was just it was cray cray. My skin was cray cray. A lot was going on. I had chronic fatigue, etc. And I was trying to figure out what was going on, and I realized I needed to detoxify my body. Like, I was trying to put all this stuff on my skin, and one day I just like went in the bathroom, like threw out everything, like Proactive, like all the random like skin, you know what I mean, stuff. And I was like, oh no, I need to, I need to start from the inside out. And so through all that stuff, took a raw food class with this amazing black couple. It was like Eddie and I can't remember. They had a place in Harlem called Raw Soul. It doesn't exist anymore. It was amazing,
Okay.
and I took a raw food class with them. And they were like, "Yeah, you're probably nutritionally deficient in some things. You need to eat more raw foods and blah blah blah." So went on a started on a raw food thing around then. Was only raw for about a month, and my entire skin cleared up.
Cleared
Two
up.
Cleared up. 2 months, I had no more. I had scarring before, like on both sides of my face. All of it was gone by the end of the 2 months. But I was doing like Rejuvelac, raw foods, juicing, colonics, like the whole joint, you know?
Hmm.
So I was just, that was like transformative. And then I was raw 100% for a couple of years, but didn't really exactly know what I was doing. And then once I started traveling a lot, I kind of eased up. And I was also trying to figure out what was right for my body, which is what I help a lot of people to do now. Kind of eased up on being 100% raw all the time. It's, you can get a mean parasite in Africa trying to eat raw, okay?
Right.
So, so, so yeah, so now like I mean, I'm not a big labels person, but I am vegan still, and I eat a lot of raw food. I don't quantify it as far as what, but I eat a lot of raw food when I can, and I really enjoy it. I wish I lived in a tropical environment 24/7 because I would just be raw all the time if I
Right.
could, you know, because it feels better. My body Ayurvedically needs warming foods when it's cold. So if I was in a warm place, I feel like I could chill with the raw 24/7.
I just started. I'm not raw all the way, but I just started incorporating more raw foods into my diet because my goal is to get to plant-based because I am vegan, been vegan for 3 years, and um, but I also indulge in the vegan processed foods.
Oh,
So I'm
oh.
trying to get to, the higher echelon where I'm being more involved in the kitchen, knowing about the different vitamins and things. David says, come to Jamaica.
I used to live in Jamaica. I lived in Kingston when I was a kid, when
That's
I was
where they're
like,
from. That's
okay,
where
yeah,
he's from.
okay.
Um, but with the raw, it just seems so extreme, and it seems also like um, dealing with Dr. Sebi. Like Dr. Sebi is like the alkaline and the raw just seems so extreme. And why do you feel like that would be like the end all be all, as not the end all be all, but to be the best that your body can function by doing those types of veganism?
So I don't, again, because I'm a nutritionist and I work with all
Right,
diets, I don't believe that
right.
there's one diet that's right for every single person. I believe in bioindividuality. So I focus in and hone in on what works for each person.
Hmm.
Um, Dr. Sebi wasn't really, the alkaline diet isn't necessarily raw.
Okay.
But I just interviewed a friend of mine, Dr. Baxter Montgomery, and he's been using raw food diets to heal people with chronic conditions for over 20 years and has researched it, right? And in 1 month of going raw, you can lower the inflammation in your body by 30%. That is a lot, okay? The other thing is that aging is inevitably going to happen, right?
Hmm.
But really, all we're trying to do is slow the process. The more detoxifying, fresh, and pure your diet is, the slower you're going to age, period, point blank. Like most of the people that I've interviewed who are over 70 who look amazing, they either switched to a raw diet at some point or
Right,
they were on one for a really long time, maybe starting in their 50s or whatever. And this is why they've kind of preserved their body. It's just basically like your body has less junk to get rid of, honestly, because you're just putting in like the purest form of nutrition and food. So it's not, for me, it's a personal choice because I know how I feel when I'm on it, but that doesn't mean that I feel like everyone should do it. And it's not necessarily a super sustainable diet, unfortunately, because the
right,
society we live in, everyone's trying to run and grab stuff. There's not always the best access to like fresh, food, etc. I mean, I'm blessed because like I just went to the farmers market this morning and it's right outside my place. I always live in a place though that has a farmers market right there because I don't have time to not get fresh vegetables, and fresh fruit.
right.
And I get really kind of depressed when I go to the grocery store and if you spend a lot of money on stuff and get home and realize this, like the food mileage, the quality is horrible. So it's really just, it really depends on your hashtag life goals. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I feel like raw food can be very unsustainable for people long term, but sometimes I use it as a therapeutic tool. And I think
Hmm.
that if you can always increase the amount of raw you do in a day just to give your body, you know what I mean, more of that real fresh awesome nutrition.
Right.
If your goal is to slow your aging, reduce inflammation, all those things.
So I want to touch a little bit on nutrition because that's, like I said, that's one of the main things that people have a hard time comprehending, that you can get all your nutrients, your vitamins, anything that you need in order to sustain your body. And it's also one of the things that sort of puts people on the teeter, on the, I might be vegan, but what will I be missing if I let go of meat? Why do you think that veganism is such a lifestyle that is more where you have to do a lot of research versus it just being out there on the forefront, as far as where you can get your iron, your potassium, calcium, and things like that?
Well, misinformation. I mean, literally, we
Hmm.
grew up seeing milk does the body good. That is so not true.
Right.
Actually,
Right.
actually, milk can cause osteoporosis, and in black women and black people, black women, it can cause fibroids, it causes estrogen dominance, and cause a whole host of things. We've been programmed to believe that the animal protein based diets are superior. So when people then get to the understanding that maybe this isn't working for me, it's very confusing for them and they don't know what to do. But I always tell people, like, anything you used to eat, you can technically convert that to plant-based. That's a great place to start. Like, if you used to
Right.
like spaghetti and meatballs, you can actually make spaghetti and meatballs, but like vegan. And sometimes that's where you have to start. And then hopefully you get to a place, like you were saying, your goals are. There are levels. Sometimes you start out and you're incorporating, some of these processed foods. I actually think it's better to eat meat and a whole food diet than to eat vegan processed foods, honestly. I really think it's a
Right.
waste of nutrition. So
Right.
I really believe that whole foods is the way to go, and the way that everyone should be, no matter whether or not they choose to eat meat or not. Processed food is not where it's at. All those chemicals and added flavorings and whatever are not serving your life.
It's
Um,
funny you said, oh, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm
oh no, go
sorry.
ahead.
It's funny you said that because I had just listened to a podcast, and it was a vegan podcast, and they say this same exact thing. They were just like, well, if you're going to be vegan and you're eating all these processed foods, you might as well just go ahead, get your milk, get your cheese, get your eggs. And that's why I'm trying to transition out of it in order for me to be able to get the full benefits. Even though I'm 95% plant-based, I do like a chicken nugget or a Beyond Beef or an Impossible Burger and things like that if I get a craving, because in my mind I'm like, well, I'm still not eating any meat, but
Right,
I understand that it's a little too much for my body as well if I'm going to cross all the way over.
right.
What are some of the main foods as vegans or even non-vegans that we should implement in our day-to-day diet to ensure we're getting the nutrients our body needs?
Well, we need to get sources of protein. Vegan sources of protein include things like quinoa, peas,
Hmm.
brown rice, nuts, nut butters, bean sprouts even have protein. I mean, protein
Hmm.
is in everything. So, you know what I mean? Generally speaking, but some people need to pay more attention. All the legumes. Some people do tofu. I don't do tofu. Um,
Why don't you do tofu? Is it because of the soy, or
The
you
soy
just,
doesn't
it's
work for
more?
my body. It causes estrogen
Okay.
problems. Yeah, because it messes with my cycle. So you really do need to be careful. And I always tell people about soy. Someone was just asking this question on Instagram and I commented.
Right.
She asked my opinion because she was like, well, the Physicians Committee of Responsible Medicine says that soy is great and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I was there. I was at the conference and I heard the stuff and I heard the things
I was
presented.
there.
And I
Yeah.
heard the things presented, and what me and a bunch of other Black health professionals were having these side conversations about the fact that a lot of these research studies that they're basing stuff on don't involve Black people. there's like there's like a lot of research that's not targeted specifically to how this affects people of African descent. So how you can't tell me what I feel when I eat it because I don't feel right.
Right.
And I know that my ancestors wouldn't have ate it. So I don't mess with it like that. But I don't,
And it's
that doesn't mean for somebody else, you know what I mean? A non-GMO soy, that doesn't mean for somebody else that doesn't work. But I'm saying each individual really needs to analyze themselves. And if you're a person of color, realize that these studies and things that they promote don't always include studies on you and what might work for your particular constitution.
So where will we find out that information? Because that's a good point, because a lot of the things that we're eating and dealing with our body, through history, we didn't have that over in Africa. We didn't have all those things. So of course we had to adapt because it was either that or we starve. But where will we find information that would make sure that we are getting the things that we need as an African American or Hispanic or whatever the case may be?
Well, so when I work with people, like I'm legit straight from Africa, first generation, right? So I know exactly what my parents ate and all that stuff. So I have a complete barometer of what that is. If you don't, and you were born here and your family had certain kinds of foods they ate, I like people to keep cultural foods because we have emotional attachment to cultural foods. But I always say, how can we make this healthier? Do we need to fry the plantain? Okay, if we're going to fry it, can we fry it in coconut oil? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, I'm sorry, chitlins are canceled. All of those, like
I used to eat chitlins.
Canceled.
I just had that conversation.
I
used to eat chitlins.
For many reasons,
I used to love them.
The infections you can get from it, parasites, those are canceled. There's no
vegan
substitute for chitlins. I wonder if there's
my past life. I was raised in the South.
I know, but what I'm saying is, I don't know. I mean, maybe there's a chef somewhere out there who's made a vegan substitute for chitlins, but chitlins are canceled. No. So everything else, collard greens, other Southern things can be made vegan.
Right.
So you don't have to then like throw away your cultural foods and be like, oh, I'm starting all over. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you could still start with the things that you're used to, except for chitlins. And then... and then from there, all the Southerners would cross over if someone invented a vegan chitlin.
They would just be like, you know what? I'm vegan. I'm ready. I'm ready.
That's so nasty. Okay.
I know it was, but my mother was raised deep South Carolina.
I know.
And their side is Native American and all that going on. And, when you're poor, you eat. And that's another thing that affects our community is that people, want us to cross over and do these things. But with our community, since majority of our community was, poor, we were slaves. We didn't have a lot of different foods. So we made do. But now that we're here and now that we, there's Google, there's, if you live in New York or you live in Brooklyn, there's a farmer's mart, like there's
a farmer's
section
market all over. Yeah. Park Slope, the
Union Square, they have the co-op, they have everything around. But I think what is missing with us is that we have teachers, but it's not like just information. Like if I'm scrolling down Instagram, if I'm not looking for, a vegan, the odds that I'm going to get that information would not be, in my sight.
Right.
So how do you think that we should approach learning more about veganism versus instead of feeding into the different stereotypes and feeding into, just not wanting to know? What would be some steps that people can learn more about veganism in their day-to-day lives, like classes and things? Because I know you teach classes, correct or no?
I teach classes not on veganism, but I teach classes to help people find the best diet and lifestyle choices for their bodies. So generally speaking, everybody Pretty much almost any blood type can be plant-based. There's only one that I've encountered that every single time I encounter that blood type, they're like, I feel weak and horrible when I go on, and that's type O.
Oh,
Which, yeah, everybody else, you should be all right. Like, don't
I
trip.
was like, if she said that, I'm just gonna
No.
die.
Type O's, like
Because I'm B.
if you meet
I'm a
type
B.
O's who used to be vegan, they'll be like, yeah, man, I was weak and I felt horrible, you know? But
Right.
mostly everybody else generally could. They might have, it just might be your preference to include other things. Really, you just need to get acquainted with incorporating fruits and vegetables. You need to get acquainted
Hmm.
with herbs, with natural herbs, with take the stuff that you actually like, just engage in Meatless Monday, take the foods you actually like and try making them plant-based. Like give yourself a challenge of not really eating meat one day a week. Those are great ways to just start to acquaint yourself with what it's like to, you know what I mean, figure out
Right.
veganism on your own path. But then you also do need to supplement things, especially if you're going to do it for a long term. Like I went a really long time without really supplementing and had a meltdown at some point. I think it was like 20, maybe 10 years, 15 years in, because I hadn't
Hmm.
really supplemented. So, I mean, B12 deficiency is real, and that can lead to pernicious
Yeah.
anemia, which is irreversible, by the way, and can cause irreversible neurological damage. And then vitamin D is important to supplement. So if you have a really good multivitamin, generally with at least 2,000 international units of vitamin D, that's great. It should have B12 in it. It should have all the B vitamins in it. Everyone needs that anyway. Meat eaters need that too. Um,
Right.
so if you have that to cover your baseline, and then if you're anemic or prone to be anemic, deal with that as well because you don't want hair loss or being tired or fatigued, etc. So just make sure that your nutritional bases are covered with your supplementation to give you the baseline, and then just really try to get in really good nutritious meals and incorporate healthy fats. So avocados, coconut, nuts, all that stuff. Incorporate the vegan sources of protein, and then your carbs really with doing super products from fruit, um, from fruits, from vegetables, from some people do the whole grain thing. Everyone nowadays is starting to realize how inflammatory gluten is. I can't even do
Right.
wheat, so I stopped that years ago. I didn't even realize it was a thing, and then uh, I was at a naturopath's office and they did muscle testing on me and figured out that I was allergic to wheat. And when I stopped it, I noticed my energy. If you're eating wheat and you stop it and you notice that like slight brain fog goes away, or you just start to get a little, you know what I mean, more energy, then you know you shouldn't be eating it. So gluten can be a problem for some people too. Since gluten doesn't,
Right.
or at least wheat doesn't work for me, I like make my own breads with almond flour, cassava flour, almond flour, tapioca flour, different things. So you can
Oh,
get
so
really
you cook.
creative. Oh no, I
So you,
cooks.
oh,
I
I'm
cook,
trying to
but
get
like I
there.
don't
I'm trying to get there.
I cook a lot and I really enjoy it, but I am one of those people who, because I don't have that much time, I do quick and
Right.
easy. If I had all day, I could do something. I could do a little something. People be surprised.
I'm
Um,
learning how to do my own vegan cheese. That's what
okay,
I'm trying to do with the
okay.
potatoes and the carrots and things like that. I'm going to attempt it tomorrow.
You can make a
I'm going to
vegan,
attempt it.
a raw, you can make a cheese out of cashew really easily. Yeah, cashew
So
cheese. Look it
I
up.
would boil them, correct? I would boil them and then blend it in with the
Well,
potatoes.
I used to make it raw. So it was soaked cashews. Cashews are amazing, but yeah. Anywho, I'll have to send you that recipe. But it's a cool thing
Please.
because you can put it in like a whatchamacallit, a Ziploc bag, cut a hole, and then like kind of squirt it on things. So I used to use it to make it, put it on pizza and different things like that.
So what are your thoughts on sea moss? Because I started taking sea moss and was
Sorry.
I even make my own gel. Don't laugh at me. Don't do
No, I'm
that.
not.
Don't do
Okay,
that.
so I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at the question. Because, child, if I could tell you how many people have asked me, I'm a nutritionist that literally all that Black people want to ask me is if I use sea moss daily and what I think about it. And I find it
Because
so hilarious
the
on
reason
so
why
many
is
levels.
because I never used it, but then in the last month, I went down the rabbit hole and I was
Yeah.
just like, oh my God, I need to make me some sea moss gel. And ever since I started taking it, I noticed a difference. Like I feel
Mm-hmm.
I won't say that I was ever unbalanced, but I just feel like there's just a different pep in my step. So I started taking that and stopped taking my multivitamins.
Mm. I would still take your multivitamin.
Oh, okay. Heard.
But
Heard.
Irish moss is dope for a couple reasons. Well, one, I would say I really wish and hope that as people learn more about nutrition, they realize that Irish moss is not the answer to everything. Okay, it's just not. What Irish moss is interesting to me from a nutrition perspective for several reasons. It's a superfood, so it does have a lot of
Mhm.
nutrition in it, a lot. I used it when I had a car accident. I was in a car accident. I used it to help myself rehab faster because it also can help with connective tissues. Irish moss
Mhm.
also can help with the lining of your intestines. So if you have leaky gut or gut issues, it can help with that. So it has all these other properties that no one ever really talks about because everyone's just focused on just, is it good? Should I take it? Kind of thing. But I think it's a great addition to a healthy diet and
Okay.
supplementation. Is it the be all and end all of life? No. It is a great addition to a healthy diet. I like it
Okay.
also. I also use it for my clients who can't eat. Like I
Okay.
have a lot of clients with mental disabilities as well, and some of them are on tube feeding or they have serious like colon cancer or something crazy or HIV. I have a couple clients with HIV. I will be like, yo, I need you to go get some liquid chlorophyll, some Irish moss, and
Right.
just like things that they could add to things and blend in things and take to give their body nutrition that they can't get. You know what I'm saying? Any other way. So Irish moss is great. It just really should. I just really hope that people broaden their knowledge of other
Right.
superfoods beyond just Irish moss.
So since you are here and you are the expert, can you give me three superfoods that we should try to incorporate in our diet every day?
So
Other than sea
I
moss.
so I can't give like a so my disclaimer is that I give
Oh, okay.
individualized recommendations because that's what I do. I'm focused on each individual and figuring out what works for them, and that may not work for
Hmm.
everybody. There's a ton
Okay.
of superfoods that are great. So it's kind of like find the ones that kind of like I guess jive with you.
Right.
I can just start listing a bunch of them right now if you'd like, and then But
Or just
so
you
Camu
can just
Camu is
do three.
amazing. It has okay three. If I could only do three, what would the three be? I don't know.
Something that is for
I would
the beginner vegan when they're taking away and things of that nature, because a lot of the people who view this content, they're all vegan adjacent, and they're just trying to figure out how they can take the step to come over but
yeah,
not do without certain things.
right. Well, beginner
And a lot of them are
superfood.
CMOS addicts.
I'm sure. Beginner superfood. Spirulina is a good beginner one. Spirulina is
Hmm.
beginner. Spirulina and chlorella are cousins, so you could mess around with those and see how you feel about it.
Okay.
Um, Another beginner superfood is cacao, which is raw chocolate. So you could get cacao powder. You can make great things like I make chocolate avocado mousse
Ooh.
using raw cacao and just an avocado and a sweetener. It's lit. Um, Raw cacao is amazing because of the antioxidants and all of the wonderful things in it, including magnesium, which is why women crave it during their cycles because we need more
Right.
magnesium and potassium at that time. So if you are one of those people who has a hankering every month, it's like go get you some raw cacao and make something else because if you add the dairy and the sugar and the fillers from a normal Hershey's bar or something, it's gonna make your cramps and your entire cycle horrible, you know? So getting the raw
Mhm.
cacao will give you the magnesium you need, the antioxidants you need without all the other stuff. So cacao is another good one. What's another good beginner superfood? I mean, all my favorite superfoods are African. um,
Teach us.
like
What part
baobab.
of Africa are you from?
I'm Nigerian.
Oh,
But
wow. Amazing.
I've lived and traveled in all over. So Ghana, South Africa. I lived in South Africa for a while. But Africa has the most amazing superfoods ever. So moringa,
I've heard
baobab.
so much about Moringa. What is that?
Oh my God. So moringa, I wish I could remember I think it has 44 major nutrients in it. I mean, it just has almost if you want to take a multivitamin, moringa might be it because moringa
Okay.
has been shown it's from the moringa tree and they grind, I think it's this, I'm not sure if they grind the seeds into the powder or the leaves into the powder, I can't remember, but the moringa powder literally has cured malnutrition in entire villages just by sprinkling it on their meals. They sprinkle it on various meals and they'll have these kids and the families eat it and it has resolved nutritional deficiencies. That's how powerful moringa is. And so
Okay.
they've just started
I
kind of
just
packaging it and selling it elsewhere. But when I went, you know, if you go there, it's like cheap. Like if you're actually in Africa,
right.
like you can get a big bulk, you know, for nothing. Whereas here, you know, they're going to overcharge you for it. So moringa is
Wow.
incredible. Baobab is incredible. Also crazy
You said
superfood. Baobab.
baobab?
Baobab.
Baobab. I've never heard of that.
Baobab.
Okay.
And that one kind of works. I use it in like fruit smoothies and whatever. It's kind of tart taste, whatever. Also, I got that from Ghana. And that one,
Mhm.
the trees take something like 1,000+ years to develop. So can you imagine the amount of nutrition? It's like God's tree. Like I don't know how else to explain this tree. You've probably
Wow.
seen pictures of the tree and not known, but if you Google baobab tree, you'll see it and you'll be like, "Wow, that's a crazy amazing tree." And it has this
Okay.
fruit, and they take the fruit and they create a dried powder from it, and that dried powder again is lit. I would say between
Okay.
baobab and moringa, if you really did that every day, you probably wouldn't even need a multivitamin. Um,
I'll be at the store tomorrow. I mean, because I see moringa, but I never see baobab. Is that how you
baobab,
pronounce it?
baobab.
Baobab. I've never seen that. So now I have to be on the lookout. We have a natural store right there on Flatbush,
I
but
don't
I don't
know
think that
if
he has a whole lot.
yeah, I don't know. I know that especially in the UK, they
Mhm.
started trying to like trade, you know, get it from Africa and sell it.
Okay.
I brought mine from Ghana because I went and I just got some from farmers and I bought a bunch. But oh, someone's asking how you spell it.
Yes.
Baobab. Baobab.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
but so I don't know exactly where you would find it in the States, but I'm sure if you went on Amazon or something, somebody's probably selling that joint online.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, do you have just a few minutes to answer some questions if people want to know?
Sure.
Okay. Well, I'm opening up the line for people to ask questions. We're only going to ask about two because y'all will try it. Y'all will try it.
It's all
So,
right.
all right. Yeah, because people, when you have someone who has such wealth of knowledge, they'll be like, oh, and can I do this? Can I do this? Can I do this? And then I'll be like, you can send her an email. You can send her an email. You can
Comedy.
send her an email.
Comedy.
All right. Y'all have a few minutes to get your questions together. Don't be sliding in my DMs later asking me anything because okay. Don't slide it. Oh, sorry. Okay. do you have any blogs or vlogs? Her name is The Raw Girl, and it's probably across all of her platforms. Am I
Yeah,
correct?
so my
Okay.
so my blog is called Raw Girl in a Toxic World, or at least
Okay.
I don't really post on it like that anymore. I have a podcast called Staying Ageless Podcast. If you want a lot of great information, go subscribe to my podcast.
Hmm.
My so you could check out the blog rawgirltoxicworld.com. There is over 400 articles still on there, so check them out. And then my site, like if you're interested in consulting with me or talking about your nutrition, is therawgirl.com. So that's where you can find me.
All right.
Did anyone else ask questions before? I'm gonna slide back up just in case.
Okay.
That milk campaign
Because
is one of the worst campaigns of all time. Yeah, totally.
okay.
Totally.
All right. Well, since no one's acting like they have any questions, I want to thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. The information that you gave me was invaluable because I'm a new vegan, 3 years, and I'm just trying to figure it out. And I'm also just trying to create a space for people to cross over because it's important for me and our people to know our health alternatives. And for
Mm-hmm.
me, crossing over, it's changed my life because I
Mm.
was a pescatarian, I was a carnivore, but when my mom got sick with cancer, I knew that it had something to do with food. And that's
Mm.
why I am so passionate about being a vegan, but I'm also wanting to, get my health to the ultimate point. So
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
you,
So
now that I have the contact with you, to get a session, and what does your sessions entail? So like if I was to come to you, do you assess us through blood work and things of that nature, or is it more of a conversation on what I've been doing and things of that nature, or it's just from head to
so
toe
my
you do everything?
sessions. Right. So I'm a certified nutrition specialist.
Mhm.
What that really is it's very similar to what a functional medicine doctor is, meaning I get to the root cause of why someone is where they're at and what they need to do from a holistic perspective. Okay. So holistic perspective means diet, supplements, lifestyle. I'm going to look at your sleep. I'm going to look at all of that. I read blood work. I read it well. And I also read it better than most doctors do because I'm always trying to alert my clients before they even get into the red zone. I don't wait until you get to the red zone and then be like, oh, you need these medications, because I don't do
Right.
medications. So I'm trying to stop you from getting on the medications in the first place. So a lot of people are like, oh my God, this is the longest a health professional has ever spent with me. But I really do need that hour and a half in the first session to go through your entire history from when you were born until now, because I want to understand you, what your diet has been like, what your hangups have been, and how you got led to whatever situation you're in, and then how we can transform these things to get you to your health goals. So everyone's coming from different perspectives. I mean,
Yeah.
I have a lot of clients with fibroids, endometriosis, PCOS. I have a lot of clients trying to lose hundreds of pounds. On my mental disability clients are dealing with everything from HIV to lung cancer to
Mm.
Jesus Lord. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been tried by fire on a whole bunch of conditions that I didn't even know about until, you know what I mean, until it just presented itself, and then I had to
Right.
figure it out. So the good news is that thanks to God, my track record is pretty gangsta. So a lot of my clients have reversed hypertension, diabetes, lost hundreds of pounds, got hormonally balanced, got their hair growing back, because I really do care and I really do fight for my clients as if it were for myself. And a lot of my clients are Black women and they have really horrific experiences in doctors' offices and in other
Right.
places. And so I try to be the antithesis to that and create a safe space where we can work through what it is that got you to this place,
Right.
and then work on a vision for getting you to there. And then the other aspect of what I do as a behavioral coach is that I coach people in the sense that I ask the right questions to get you out of your original ways of thinking and being that got you to where you are. Because at the end of the day, I could give you a list of things and say, eat this, but if your mind ain't right, you ain't going to do it. And it's not going to last that long. And so I focus on getting people's mind rights. And sometimes I have to bring in other practitioners. I'm really big on rapid transformational therapy, which is a way to access the subconscious mind and literally change your programming. I've used that several times because sometimes I notice that certain clients have decided that they're going to be sick. They've had certain things that have
Oh,
happened to them in their life, and they have mentally hung on to this condition as if it is their identity. And so sometimes we
right.
have to sever the identity with the condition. And so, or just get your brain to think that it's possible, because sometimes people are dealing with really horrible diseases and conditions. And sometimes it can be hard to even think that I can be well. And I'm that
Right.
person who's the advocate for you to believe that, yes, you can be well, but we need to do some work, and it's going to be deep. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be surface
Mm.
level. So don't come to me unless you're ready, is basically what I'm saying, because part of the reason why I get the results is because I talk to people, and if I really feel like you don't sound like you're really, mentally ready to do the work, I don't want to work with you. And the reason why is because it's a meeting of the minds. Like, if you have a little bit of faith and I have a lot of faith, we can make something happen, right? But if you're coming and you're kind of like lackadaisical about it, you're not quite sure if you want to feel better, oh,
Right.
that's too expensive, oh, I don't want to do, then you're not ready. You're not ready. And
Right.
because I'm the kind of person who gets you results, I'm going to tell you to go find you a nice little dietitian or nutritionist who's going to take your money to give you some recommendations and not get you any real results. But if you want real results, you got to be prepared to do the work with me.
And on
Like,
that
that's my
note, heard you, heard you. Thank you so much. You're amazing. You're amazing.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
inspiring as well, because it's important for me to also talk to other Black professionals to, inspire our community. And when we see people who are passionate about that, and what's key is that, we do go to these different doctors' offices, and they're just like, well, oh, okay, you got this. I'm going to, prescribe you 800 medicines.
I have some clients
And
on like 20 different medications. Like, every time they get a
that's
symptom, the doctor just gives them another medication. It's
because
just
medicine, it cures one thing, but it makes something else goes wrong.
medicine does
So it's
not
just
cure. Medicine does not cure. It stops the symptoms. That's all medicine is designed to do. It's designed to stop whatever symptom you have. My foot
okay.
hurts. I give you a medicine that makes the pain go away, but that didn't you there's a million reasons why your
That
foot
didn't
could
cure
hurt. You
it.
could have got kicked in the foot, you could have tripped. There could have been a
Right.
whole reason, a hell, you know what I mean? Seeing a whole bunch of reasons why that
Right.
even happened in the first place. But you haven't dealt with that. You've only just taken the thing to make the pain stop, which is worse, because over time, what if you can't walk? Because now you see what I'm saying?
Mm.
So it's
Right.
just it every single time you take a medication, it depletes nutrients from the body, and it has side effects. So you want to keep that in mind when people want to keep prescribing you things over and over again. You never want to just be willy-nilly taking medications without asking doctors questions, without doing a little work. I mean,
Right.
everything I always have to, because I have clients on 16, 17 medications, I'm literally
Mm.
going through, and I know that these doctors don't care about these people, especially some of my clients with mental disabilities. So I'm like going through, and I'm like, okay, what nutrients is each of these things depleting? How can I get this back in their body to some degree so that we could start to wean them off the medications? Because the medications, if they cured stuff, nobody would have diabetes. Nobody would be on metformin. No one would be taking
Right.
insulin. No one would be no one would
Right.
be on statin drugs. These things don't cure
Right.
high cholesterol. If they cured stuff, we would know by now, and everyone would be happy because they had taken the pill, and now they're like, you know what I mean, living their best life. And then they wouldn't need to come to me. But
Right.
that is not the case. So they all come to me. And they're like, please help me get off this medication. You know? So it's really important that if you
Yes.
are taking the
Hmm.
medication, that you don't just take it without an expiration date, and you make the determination in your mind that I'm going to do something about my lifestyle, diet, supplements, etc., to get my body back to one, so I don't have to take this medication for the rest of my life.
Yes, indeed. Well, thank you so much, Esosa. I really appreciate it. Once again, thank you to everyone who tuned in. Sorry about the difficulties on the other page. I'm going to figure it out again. And everyone have a great night. Thank you so much, Esosa. And I
Bye.
definitely want the cheese recipe,
Oh, okay,
the raw
sure.
cheese recipe.
Just email me or else I'll forget.
I'll email you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I'll figure out what's going on with my other page. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Hey, Star Girl. You're welcome. Thank you so much for joining me on this IG Live. I hope that you got valuable information from it. Of course, you can slide in my DMs if you have any questions about anything, and I can try to help you as much as possible. Once again, this is Vegan Pop Eats, and this is a space where you can be vegan without the judgment. Talk to you guys later. Bye.